Hi, I'm Ken, and welcome to my channel Endurance Sweat, where it's all about training hard and having fun. In this video, I offer a comprehensive guide to Zwift's coffee stops. The video is in two sections. In the first section, I make a presentation about the features of the coffee stop. And then in the second portion of the video, I have clips that I've taken while riding on Zwift to illustrate the points that I make during the presentation. I've put timestamps in the video description so you can jump directly to those sections that interest you personally. Okay, let's get right to it. So what is a coffee stop? Well, during a coffee stop, you can stop pedaling and your avatar will keep up with the rider or riders alongside you. You can use a coffee stop to grab a towel, refill your water bottle, take a nature break, or just recover, and perhaps actually drink a coffee. Since the introduction of coffee stops in April of 2023, it has become very popular, a favorite among Zwifters. Coffee stops are available during solo rides, robo-pacer rides, and group rides, basically non-competitive situations. Because coffee stops are not available during races, they're not available during solo workouts, though you can click on the pause button to stop and restart a solo workout. And coffee stops are not available during group workouts. Just a special note, coffee stops are not available if there aren't any other riders around you. And coffee stops are not available if you're stopped. Coffee stops, when can you take them? Well, you can take a coffee stop during the first 5 minutes of a ride for 30 seconds. And thereafter, you can take a 3-minute coffee stop at 30-minute intervals. The coffee stop during the first 5 minutes, well, it's only 30 seconds, but it's ideal if you forgot to turn on your fan, or if you forgot to grab your towel or your water bottle. Basically, anything that you forgot that's nearby. The coffee stop for 3 minutes at 30-minute intervals is also great if you need to refill your water bottle, you need to take a bathroom break, maybe even change shorts, or even just recover while you have a coffee. Now let's talk about coffee stop logistics. Let the gray bar represent the duration of your ride. In the first 5 minutes, you're allowed a coffee stop for 30 seconds. So say you take your coffee stop 1 minute and 30 seconds into the ride, and the coffee stop lasts until 2 minutes into the ride. So for 30 seconds. Then 30 minutes after the end of the coffee stop, you'll have another opportunity to take a 3-minute coffee stop. So that'll be from minute 32 to minute 35 into your ride. And after that, you'll have another opportunity, if your ride is long enough, to take another coffee stop in 30 minutes after the end of the coffee stop. So that timer restarts for 30 minutes at the end of each coffee stop. And here's another example. Say you don't take the 30-second coffee stop in the first 5 minutes. Then your first coffee stop will come exactly at the 30-minute mark into your ride. So you'll take your coffee stop from 30 minutes, for example, until 33 minutes into the ride. And then the next coffee stop, again, if your ride is long enough, will be 30 minutes after the end of the coffee stop. So that would be after 63 minutes. That's when you'll have another opportunity to take a coffee stop. But you don't have to take the coffee stops then. It's all up to you when you want to take them. But you do have to wait 30 minutes from the end of each coffee stop to have an opportunity for another one. Now let's go back to our example where you took a coffee stop in the first 5 minutes of the ride. Then it will be 30 minutes before you have another opportunity for a coffee stop. During that period of time, if you bring up the action bar, you'll notice the coffee cup is in gray, indicating that the coffee stop is not available. And that will be the same whether you're looking at the action bar in-game or on the companion app. But in-game, there's some additional information on the action bar. If you hover your mouse over the coffee cup, it will show you when your next coffee stop will be available. So for example, in the example that I'm showing, it shows coffee stop available in 23 minutes and 33 seconds. So that's very useful. You can see how long it's going to be until your next coffee stop. Again, bring up the action bar in game, highlight your mouse over the coffee cup, and then it will show you how long you have before your next coffee stop. A little bit more about coffee stop logistics. I mentioned that you can take a coffee stop in the first 5 minutes of a ride, and then the window for taking coffee stop reopens after 30 minutes into a ride. But beware, in time-based events, for example, a 1-hour group ride, you cannot take a coffee stop in the last 15 minutes of the group ride. And if you bring up the action bar, you'll see that the coffee cup is in gray, and it will say coffee stop unavailable. Here I've expanded the action bar so you can see that coffee stop unavailable with the coffee cup in gray during the last 15 minutes of a time-based event. And similarly, in a distance-based event, for example, a 30-kilometer group ride, coffee stops are unavailable in the last 5 kilometers of the ride. And here's a special warning. If you start a 3-minute coffee stop with less than 18 minutes to go in the ride, then the coffee stop effect will terminate at 15 minutes to go without warning. A similar arrangement for distance-based events. And here's an example. Say you take your coffee stop at 17 minutes to go in the ride. Then the coffee stop effect will terminate after 2 minutes, because then there's only 15 minutes left. And there's no warning for that. So you really have to pay attention. Make sure you take your coffee stops when there's at least 18 minutes left in the ride. And that way you'll get the whole 3-minute coffee stop effect. And here's something else to take into account. Say you've signed up for a group ride, and you start the group ride and you're placed in a corral. Well, what's happening with the coffee stop timer? The timer doesn't start until the ride actually begins. So while you're in the start corral, the coffee stop timer is in suspension, so to speak. It doesn't start. So you'll still be able to take that 30-second coffee stop break in the first 5 minutes, and then succeeding 3-minute coffee stops after at least 30 minutes have passed. Just note, it doesn't matter how soon you enter the start corral. The timer doesn't start until you start rolling. Now, how do you actually start the coffee stop? Well, in the action bar or on the companion app action bar, you click on the coffee stop icon while it's blue. And during your coffee stop, you will see a box on the game screen. And at the bottom of the box, you will see a countdown timer to the end of your coffee stop. So how much time is left. And it will show auto select and the number of seconds that you have left in your coffee stop. In this case, I just started my coffee stop. I have 179 seconds left. But very useful, and you need to pay attention. Here's an enlarged view of that coffee stop box so you can see it a little bit better. Now, when other riders are taking a coffee stop, you'll see a coffee cup swirling over their heads. But when you take a coffee stop, there won't be a coffee cup above your avatar's head. Another thing to take note of is during your coffee stop, your game screen controls are locked. You can't do anything until you complete the coffee stop. However, if you click the X on the coffee stop box on the companion app, it won't stop your coffee stop, but it will give you access to your controls on the companion app. So you can send out messages, you can give riders ride-ons, and all the other controls that you're used to on the companion app. But the controls on the game screen itself are locked until the coffee stop is ended. Now, how do you end the coffee stop? Well, in that coffee stop box, you click done. And the same thing on the companion app, you can click done. Or you can just start pedaling. When your power gets above 40 watts, the coffee stop will automatically end. And obviously, you can also end the coffee stop by just letting the timer run out. Just be aware, if you click done by mistake early in your coffee stop, why, you won't be able to take another coffee stop until 30 minutes afterwards. So just be careful when you're clicking on that game screen or tapping on your companion app. Now, what about distance, XP, and drops? You'll continue to accumulate kilometers or miles based upon the distance covered during a coffee stop. And you'll continue to earn XP, again, based on the distance covered during the coffee stop. So no change there. But you won't earn any drops during a coffee stop because drops are based on the effort that you make. And obviously, if you're not pedaling, you're not putting in any effort. So you don't earn any drops during a coffee stop. And some will want to know, well, how will taking a coffee stop affect how my ride is recorded in Strava or in Garmin Connect? Well, both will include all the distance covered, including the distance covered during a coffee stop. Your charts in Strava or Garmin Connect will show no power, 0 watts, and 0 cadence during a coffee stop. Calculation for average power will include the time during the coffee stop when you're not putting out any power. And your average speed and heart rate will include the time during your coffee stop. Here are some charts from Garmin Connect during a ride in which I took 4 coffee stops. Yeah, it was a long ride. Well, the speed trace is pretty steady because during this coffee stop, I'm staying alongside the riders that I was riding with. During the coffee stop, obviously my heart rate falls, and you can see that on the chart. The trace for power output goes to 0, and the trace for cadence goes to 0. And this would be similar in the charts in Strava. Now I have a few tips and tricks for you. A lot of riders start their coffee stop as soon as it's available. And if you're doing a group ride, you'll see an awful lot of coffee cups pop up over riders' head just after the 30-minute mark. And if you're doing a long ride and you want to maximize the use of coffee stops, why, you need to take them as soon as they're available. Another tip, or some might call it a trick, if you know a hill is coming up on the route you're riding, why, you might delay taking the coffee stop until you're on the hill or on the steepest part of the hill. That's controversial to some and smart to others. But don't forget, you're using coffee stops in non-competitive events. This tip is a little more difficult to explain. The coffee cup timer continues from one event to another as long as you do not end save between rides events. For example, you join a ride for which you've signed up directly. You don't end one ride and then restart to join the next ride. Or if you're riding an event and the event comes to an end, you continue riding as a solo rider, or you continue riding by teleporting to a robo-pacer. So again, if you end the ride, that resets the coffee cup timer. But if you join an event directly, the coffee cup timer continues. Perhaps this chart will make it clearer. If you're riding event 1, and when that event comes to an end, you end the ride and save it, that resets the coffee cup timer. And when you begin the next event, event 2, the coffee cup timer starts from 0. If that event ends and you join another ride or continue to ride without ending the ride and saving it, the coffee cup timer continues accumulating time towards your next coffee cup stop opportunity. Now here's a pretty common example. Say you've registered for a group ride, but you jump on your trainer ahead of time and you warm up for 10 minutes and then join event pops up on your game screen. So you click on join event, but the group ride doesn't start immediately. You're ported into the start corral for the group ride. Now what you need to know is that the coffee cup timer is suspended in the start corral. So say you've warmed up for 10 minutes. So you've got 10 minutes on your coffee cup timer accumulated. And then when the ride itself starts, now you ride 20 minutes more, and now there's 30 minutes on the coffee cup timer, and you can take a coffee cup stop. So the thing to know is that when you're in the start corral, the coffee cup timer stops. It's suspended, if you will. Here's another example. You've registered for a group ride, and you get in the start corral with only 2 or 3 minutes before the group ride. The coffee cup timer only starts when the ride starts, when you start rolling. Or you might get in the start corral 10 or 15 minutes early. Doesn't make any difference. The coffee cup timer is suspended until the ride itself starts. There'll only be an opportunity to take a 3-minute coffee cup stop after 30 minutes into the ride. It doesn't make any difference when you jump into the start corral. That's the end of my presentation. I hope you found it useful. And now I'm going to be doing some in-game demos to illustrate the points that I made in the presentation. By the way, if you're finding this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of my videos, consider subscribing and click on the bell. That way you'll get a notification whenever I post a new video. Okay, let's get on to those in-game demos. Today we'll talk about the coffee stop. You can see I've just started the ride and the coffee stop's available. The coffee stop's available in the first 5 minutes for 30 seconds. You can see 4 minutes and 30 seconds have passed and my coffee stop's still available. That's the 30 seconds in the first 5 minutes. Now we're coming up to 5 minutes. And let's see what happens here. And now we can see it's no longer available. And it's saying it's going to be available in 24 minutes and 52 seconds. So after 30 minutes. On the game screen, when you bring up the action bar and you hover over the coffee cup, it'll show you when the coffee stop is available. And you can see on the companion app that the coffee stop is also grayed out, so it's not available. But on the companion app, it doesn't tell you how long before the coffee stop will be available. So now I've been riding for 29 minutes, and it shows the coffee stop available in 46 seconds. Let's see what happens right at the 30-minute mark. Okay, coming up to 30 minutes, available in 3 seconds. 1, and now you can see it's available. I won't take it just now. I'll wait up to just before 15 minutes left in the ride to demonstrate something else. In a distance-based event, coffee stops are available up until 5 kilometers to go. In a time-based event, like this one, coffee stops are available until 15 minutes to go. We've still got 16 minutes and 18 seconds left, and the coffee stop is still blue, as you can see, both on the action bar and on the companion app. We'll see what happens at the 45-minute mark, or 15 minutes left to go. Okay, with 16 seconds left, that coffee cup should go from blue to gray. And there it just went to gray with 15 minutes left. So just remember that. Distance-based events not available in the last 5K. Time-based events not available in the last 15 minutes. Okay, I can get a coffee stop in 14 seconds. And when I do, I can stop pedaling, get off the bike if I want, and I'll stay with the pack. Okay, the coffee stop's available. So you'll see I'm going to start it now. And you'll see I'll get off my bike and I stop pedaling and I stay with the pack. And in this case, I really will have a coffee. And this coffee stop lasts for 3 minutes. So you can have a coffee, as I just did, go refill water bottles, or have a can of Coke. Maybe take a nature break, or just relax, catch your breath for the rest of the ride. A really popular addition to Zwift. When you personally take a coffee stop, you do not see a coffee cup over your head. You don't see one over my head. You might notice my avatar that I'm not pedaling. I better get back on my bike and get ready to stop pedaling. My coffee stop's done in 16 seconds. And here I go. If I stop pedaling, the coffee stop will actually stop earlier. You see there were 7 seconds left. But as soon as I started going again, the coffee stop ended. And you'll notice on the screen, when the coffee stop's in progress, you don't have any access to any controls. It'll show coffee stop on the companion app, but you can hit that X, and that'll allow you to give ride-ons. So basically, on-screen game is locked, but you still have access. You could send out messages. You can give ride-ons to individual riders. Look at where they are on the map. You can give ride-out bombs. If you do start pedaling during the coffee break, the coffee stop will automatically stop as if they're there. Okay, for some more riding now. When other riders are taking a coffee stop, you'll see a coffee cup over their heads, as you can see here. Well, I've got 1 minute and 44 seconds before my next coffee break. Coffee break. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, I can take that coffee break. And that should get me to the top of Box Hill. And there's a good example, a good place to take a coffee break on a tough climb. Don't take it on a downhill when you can coast or pedal easy. That just doesn't make any sense. Now you can see I'm going to join this next event directly. I'm not going to end the ride. I'm just going to go directly to join the event. And I've been riding here well, I'll do it right on the 6-minute mark. Okay, I'm going to join the event. And we'll see when that coffee stop becomes available. So I've just started riding, and you can see now it says the coffee stop's available in 23 minutes and 25 seconds. And normally, at the beginning of a ride, it would be available in the first 5 minutes. But my first 5 minutes came when I started my warm-up Robo Pacer ride. But rather than wait the full 30 minutes into this ride to get the coffee stop, I'll now get it at 24 minutes into the ride. So your coffee stop timer will extend into your next event or ride as long as you don't use the menu to exit and save. Just go directly, or just join directly from the previous event or ride that you were doing. I hope you found this video on coffee cup stops to be helpful. And if you have, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and click on the bell so you'll get a notification whenever I post a new video. In the meantime, train hard and have fun.